Do you even understand how big this is for Cardano? What we've seen happening in the last couple of days with this insane news from BlackRock regarding Bitcoin could well be about to dig Cardano out of the hole that it's fallen into recently with this SEC news. I'm going to explain exactly why that is and why I think Cardano's target for the end of 2023 could well be enormous. So do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get into it, shall we? So guys, big piece of news, BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. The wolf enters the hen house. If you do not know who BlackRock are, well guys, BlackRock has $9 trillion, or just over $9 trillion under management. Now, at the last bull market, we had Bitcoin being worth $1 trillion and the entire crypto market being worth $3 trillion. That means the BlackRock, currently under management, has nearly 3 times the top of the bull market crypto under management. They're pretty big, right? They know what they're doing. Not only that, guys, but there is a potential that looking into them, that maybe they do have a bigger say in what goes on in the wider world and what goes on within government decision making. Now, that might be a bit of a conspiracy theory, and I know that there are tons of videos on YouTube talking about how BlackRock, are run by aliens and control the world and whatever. Not here to debate that. But what we're going to debate, guys, is what this really means for Cardano. Now, basically what this piece of news is right now is BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF would be a big deal. Now, what is an ETF? An ETF is an exchange-traded fund. So unlike buying just Bitcoin and hoping that it goes up in value, an ETF basically allows for individuals from institutions to invest through a platform, in this case, which would be Coinbase, pairing up with BlackRock. And then they would basically trade this like a stock. It would run on the stock market. And this gives institutions an opportunity to invest heavily. Now, this is very important because a lot of people over time have been saying, well, yeah, we need institutional money to flow in, but ultimately it does potentially lead to a lot of regulation. But I'm going to tell you that this is probably, in my opinion, a very positive thing. Now, before we dive in and look at the Cardano charts and the Bitcoin charts and understand really what impact this has had, let's delve into this a little bit further. Now, there's just a little trick I want to show you here, guys. As you know, I love on this channel to show you new tools you've probably never heard of before. And we know that this is a lengthy document, and you, like me, might be a bit impatient, maybe a little bit lazy even. And what I'm going to use is the extension called Clarity, guys. This is a free tool from Chrome, and I'm not sponsored by this at all. Just click on Summary, and what it's going to do is it's going to read the page for me, and then it's going to give me a summary of what the page is all about. And as you can see, it gives me a breakdown of what this is. BlackRock's iShares unit has filed paperwork with the SEC for the creation of a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund. The proposed fund, called iShares Bitcoin Trust, is expected to function like an ETF, despite technically being a trust. If approved, this could mean improve Bitcoin liquidity and bring legitimacy to the market due to BlackRock's reputation to the world's largest asset manager. However, there are concerns about the impact of the exchange and potential expansion of paper Bitcoin through derivatives market. The SEC's approval is uncertain, although BlackRock's filing includes enhanced market surveillance features. Now, this is an interesting thing. I think it's going to put pressure onto the SEC to make a decision that's going to be in the favor of BlackRock, because I'm sure in the background somewhere we're seeing BlackRock applying pressure to the SEC and basically governments who are probably being bailed out by BlackRock right now. We know that recently we just seen the US hit its debt ceiling, and therefore likely BlackRock has probably been bailing out the government and creating extra funds for the US government. Now, that might be, again, delving too far into conspiracy theories. Apologize for that, but I'm just speculating on what this means. Now, what this has meant for Bitcoin has been this push towards the upside. Now, this is a few days old, and you can see it's moved around 8%. Now, I want to look into Cardano because obviously this video is about Cardano, but not only that, guys, we want to check out what's been happening in Cardano. Now, you can see that Cardano continues to slide lower and lower, and we have established this support area. And I actually bought you a Cardano video a few days ago, and since then Cardano is actually up 12%. But we continue to see Cardano sliding into more uncertain times. But I actually think that a deal with the SEC from BlackRock is going to be a massive thing for crypto, and it could well start to see us easing off on the other cryptocurrencies that are floating around. Cardano, Solana, and various others that are recently under a lot of speculation. Not only that, the exchanges such as Robinhood and various others that recently dropped Cardano, if the investigation by the SEC into Cardano is then dropped, then we could start to see a bit more of a pro-government approach. This would mean that projects such as Cardano will bounce back. And I've talked yesterday about Raoul Pal, and he talks about the beach ball effect, and this is all to do with the liquidity cycle. But I want you to think about this concept with the likes of Cardano and Solana and various other coins right now. If you push a beach ball underwater and you let go of it, eventually it's going to rise back up, and it's going to rise much more aggressively than perhaps if it was just sat on the surface before. This is an interesting concept and something I'm considering happening with Cardano. Now, you would argue that we are at a heavily discounted rate, bearing in mind that just in the middle of April, we're literally down around 46% from there. We are now at the lows of the bear market pretty much that we saw back in December last year. From there, we saw a rally of around 77%, and that happened in just half a month or so, up to a month. So what I would say, guys, is right now, if you believe in the tech behind Cardano, you believe in the team and the strength going forward, that Cardano is, well, pretty much perfectly primed for an opportunity. Now, obviously, when you get this negative news and negative press coming out about something, then this gives us a nice opportunity, perhaps, to be able to buy at a nice discounted rate. Now, you can see that we are range bound between this area through here and this area down here. And I actually anticipate that a break will be happening at some point soon. You can see we have taken the liquidity on Cardano here, and I do think that if we are able to reapproach up here, then we are going to be putting in somewhat of a double bottom pattern here, and this for me would be then bringing us up towards this level, which, you know, most people will be looking at to buy in here, but personally, if you buy in down here, then you get the opportunity to move for 140% in Cardano. And whether or not we can achieve the crazy $3, $5 that people are talking about by potentially the end of this year, I think I would be very shocked if we are approaching the $5 level by the end of this year, which would be a 19x for Cardano. But I do think realistically, depending on what happens in Bitcoin, I think if BlackRock approved that ETF, then we're going to see Bitcoin booming towards the upside, and then the coins slightly later on will start to drag up with it. I do believe that the news from the SEC is going to start to look a little bit more positive after that shakeout in the markets. We're now seeing the banks who have been raising interest rates over the last year or so now having a lot more cash flow, which they'll be starting to look to invest into speculative assets such as crypto. I made a video yesterday about what Raoul Pal said about the liquidity cycle and why end of 2023 and into 2024 is going to be a very exciting time for crypto. As we move towards the second half of this year, I think we're going to see a big change happening. And if you're sitting on the sidelines right now, then potentially, and then perhaps the chance if you miss out on, you'll be kicking yourself for later on this year. Now, I can talk about this regularly or more regularly down in the Discord, which is linked down below, guys. As well as that, we're now giving away a trade every single day that you can follow over on KuCoin. This is all included in the $9.99 per month. Yesterday, we invested in IXS, and that saw a 43% gain in just 24 hours. We have now got another huge call going in that group, so if you want to get involved in those trades, then make sure you hit that link down below in the description. There's a 5-day free trial, $9.99 per month after that. Hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel and you want to find out more about coins like Cardano, then subscribe, and I'll see you in the very next video. Bye-bye.